Well, all the parts of the show are our favorite, right?
Yeah. And of course, as I always say, love this part because this is where you get the viewers, input and their thoughts on some of the stories that we cover. Right, so this is what we're asking you about this morning. So we want to know what your thoughts are. What do you make of President Cyril Ramaphosa's decision to appoint 2 senior lawyers and a law professor instead of the usual move of appointing judges to serve in the Constitutional Court? So we're carrying that story in the news as well. What are your thoughts on this at Morning Live SABC? Good, bad, don't care? Let us know what you make of all of this. And of course, we'd love to receive your voice notes as well. And that number?
That number is 078-459-1897. Do send them through to us, and please keep them nice and short, about 30 seconds, so that we can get through as many as possible. All right.
Indeed. All right, let's move on from that into our trending topics now. And here's what's trending this morning. First up, the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial.
Yep, this one is still going on. I mean, we've heard and seen so much in terms of just that evidence. And I think, SK, the latest that I was going through yesterday was just there being no evidence of any DNA of any of the accused out at the murder scene. And also confirmation on that hat that was found in the house also didn't have any DNA from any of the accused. So of course that Senzo Meyiwa trial still going on, and SABC News will keep you updated on what's happening in terms of that.
Yeah, very interesting one, because you would have heard in some of the evidence that has been led, especially by those who were inside the house, speaking of how that hat especially was dropped there by one of the accused. And now none of the accused DNA matches the DNA that was found on that particular hat or the other swabs that were taken on the crime scene. Interesting development.
And it's still going to get more interesting.
Yeah,
I think.
But I would imagine that this would in some way strengthen the defense. The fact that none of the DNA of any of the accused was found there.
Indeed, it may just come down eventually to circumstantial evidence. Look at me, the lawyer. The lawyer coming out.
Come on now.
Let's take a look at our next trending topic. We've got hashtag Helen Joseph, and of course this one linked to Dr. Matthew.
Oh, Dr. Matthew.
So Dr. Matthew, Sakina, I saw this clip that went up, and he's on TikTok trying to explain what's going on with him, and mid-live, boom, TikTok is like, this user has been banned.
And this is so strange. Vusiwe alerted me to that, and I was explaining to you, I actually watched a bit of that, but obviously not to the point where they cut him off, because I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And because people were asking him questions, and his answers were just growing more and more ridiculous.
They were neither
by the
here nor
minute.
there.
Yeah.
I mean, your practice number. First of all, I practice under the hospital practice number.
Which is where Helen Joseph comes in.
And even if I gave you the practice number, you guys have already made up your minds.
Yeah. So the department, the Gauteng Department of Health, also issuing a statement yesterday, and people then saying that they now question, should we now be questioning every doctor at Helen Joseph? Because how did this guy get through? How did he slip through the cracks?
Because there were also some posts done previously by the department speaking about Dr. Lani, and they're like, so you were posting without verifying if he's actually a doctor. And if you can't verify local doctors, what more about foreign doctors that we have in the country?
So yeah, I can only imagine all the side eyes at Helen Joseph this morning. So
Chairman Dr. Matthews is defending it.
Listen, he ain't going down without a fight. Like, he is fighting to the bitter end. But I don't know how long we can sustain this, really.
Yeah, not much longer.
But all the same, moving on to the next one. And the next one is Moslem Beek. Now, Moslem Beek has to do, Vusiwe, with some of the victims or some of the families of those who had died in that insurrection that took place in Mozambique. They have now turned to the courts and filed a complaint against Total Energies.
Yes.
So this is the story at the moment. They are saying that the company failed to ensure the safety of subcontractors especially. So that is why Mozambique is trending.
All right, so that's Moslem Beek, and we move on now to our final trending topic. I love this one. Hashtag David Beckham. So obviously just a lot of talk around David and Victoria after the release of his Netflix documentary. And Sakina, my favorite part in that is when Victoria is speaking about coming from this working class family that works hard. And then David just opens the door and he says, "Stop lying." She's like, "I'm not lying." He's like, "Tell the truth." "I am telling the truth." "No, you're not." "What card did your dad drop you off at school with?" And she's like, "It's not a simple answer."
And
eventually
she tries
comes
to
down
talk
to the
past it, but
Rolls Royce.
David would not let up. He was going to have her answer that question. And then eventually
it's
she
a Rolls Royce.
She was dropped off at school in a Rolls Royce. But I must say, I did enjoy the Beckham docu-series. He's one of the Man United players that I've always liked. But
thank you.
And yeah,
for Man United, because
I think he's always been a very likable guy. But I think I enjoyed some of the nuances.
Yes.
You know, for example, when he received that red card in the World Cup and the abuse.
Crazy.
Yeah, I don't think I had, or anyone had specifically realized just how bad that abuse was until you see it in this documentary. And also how the family, I couldn't, his mother, when she talks about Glenn Hoddle and how David was such a fan of Glenn Hoddle as a little boy, and you know, how disappointed she was in him, and how he handled the whole situation with David in the national team. And you know, those North London guys,
it's a good one to watch.
It certainly is. If you haven't watched it yet, there's something to spend your time on.
Indeed, and we're glad Victoria and David are still together, because wow, driving 4 hours just to see Posh.
Listen, the man was clearly deeply
in love.
And but I also thought what was interesting is how they dealt with the affair. Remember there were rumors that
lack of dealing with the affair.
Yeah, but that was, for me, tacit acknowledgement of the fact that it happened.
Yeah.
But it was very, but David's OCD is on another level.
It's worse than yours, Sakina. That's what I can tell you.
That's why it caught me. I'm like, I'm not that bad. Listen, I'm good with David Beckham alive.
And I have to say, before we take this ad break, Sakina's OCD is bad. So if she says she's not that bad, you must know David's is bad, bad, bad.
What do you mean? I don't have OCD issues.
It's fine. Let's take an ad break. We'll see you back after this break. Sakina will continue bringing you all your favorites right here on Winning Live.